Hello and welcome into another edition of the Scorching Start on the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm your host, Sammy Miller, alongside your broadcasters, Ian Nicholas and Dylan Pescatore. And today is what the Cape Cod League is all about. You have the two best East teams in the entire league. It's YD at number 1 and it's the Orleans Firebirds at number 2. And this is a must-win for the Firebirds if they want to clinch that number 1 spot in the East in the playoffs. But before we get into today's blockbuster game, let's talk about last night's walk-off victory, 2-1 against the Harwich Mariners. Ian, how about Jake Casey with that beautiful walk-off?
It was electric. It was electric, right? I mean, I can barely even put it in the words because it was a big moment for Jake. And it was a really interesting situation for Harwich. They looked at the spray chart and they saw that Casey hadn't gone to the left side of the field all summer long. They dared him to go to the left side of the field, putting 3 infielders to the right side of second base and 2 to the left. It was one of the weirdest things we've seen all summer, and a great result. Casey poked one right past the third base bag, did what he needed to do with the bases loaded to score Eddie King Jr., who doubled to set up the game-winning run. And for Casey, we hope it's a big moment for him, right? He's got such great power in the bat. He's really good in the outfield. Consistency has been a bit of an issue this summer, but last night he reached base in each of his last 2 times up. He was reliable when Orleans needed him to be. And in the bottom half of this order, they could really use him for a couple big swings here or there, especially maybe tonight in a ballpark here in YD that's a little tiny and could help Casey's big swing.
Let's hope he also got some rest, because last night he said, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to sleep, because he was so excited. And it was also a great send-off for Derek Clark. Unfortunately, it was his last start of the summer, but he made the most of it. He went 7 innings, 3 Ks, only allowing 1 run. Dylan, how much are we going to miss Derek out here?
Well, we're going to miss Derek Clark a lot, not only as a person, but also as a player. He was slotted in every 5 days in this rotation, whether it be out of the bullpen to start the year. Then he became a starter. He was just as dominant over 6-7 innings every time out, as reliable, as consistent as can be. The Firebirds are going to miss him a lot. Pitching at this point of the summer in the Cape Cod Baseball League is very scarce. So when you have Derek Clark leaving the roster, someone else has to step up. Potentially could be the starting pitcher today.
Now, last night it really was a pitcher's duel. Both pitchers for both sides were very strong, but also the offense kind of struggled to get going. So, Ian, do you think it was more of a pitcher's duel, or the offense just struggled as the game progressed?
For Orleans, it was a bit of a tough time. Didn't have a ton of hits throughout the game, and I would just say YD just threw a couple arms out there that Orleans wasn't necessarily maybe prepared for, because Blake Purnell only went 1 inning when a lot of people expected him to be a usual starter like he had been through his first couple appearances with Harwich. But then, Steve Englert understood that the playoffs are right around the corner and maybe I don't want to pull off my card. So Colin Rothermel decides to come out in the 3rd inning and have maybe the best outing of his life. I mean, he went 6 1/3 and was striking out guys left and right. So from from Harwich's perspective, I'd say it was more of a pitcher's duel. For Orleans, though, you dialed up your 2 best arms, right? You went to Clark and then you went to Madsen. And when you pitch those 2 guys, it seemingly you can't lose. So they scattered some hits here and there and stranded base runners and did what they did and got it done in big situations. So overall, I'd say Orleans defensively was really good. Their 2 arms were, per usual, really great. And Orleans just ran into a roadblock in Rothermel, who seemingly could not lose when he was ahead in the count.
And speaking of pitching, let's talk about today's starter for the Firebirds. He's actually a brand new Firebird. He's making his debut today. It's Justin Winter, the right-handed pitcher from ECU. What do you think the factors were that contributed to his start today?
Yeah, Winter's going to start today because the Firebirds need some pitching, and this is what happens at the end of the Cape Cod Baseball League season. Pitching goes away, innings limits happen, and Jaden Winter out of ECU is going to come in today and try to give some length to the Firebirds. Kelly Nicholson wouldn't start him in a game like this, with so much on the line, if he didn't have a lot of trust in him. He played in the Cal Ripken League earlier this summer. His season just ended, got the call, now he's here in Orleans and looking to start in the biggest game of the season for the Firebirds.
Now, there's a reason why YD is currently number 1 in the East. They have strong pitching. They have strong hitters. Their outfield is also strong. Ian, what to you stands out the most with this team?
Well, they got a unicorn on the mound. His name's Braden Montgomery. He's going to get the start tonight. Who knows how long it will last. It could go 1 inning. It could go 4 innings. We'll see. He's a Stanford 2-way currently in the portal, probably the most coveted player in the transfer portal because he was one of the best players on one of the best teams in the country with the Stanford Cardinal this past spring. He's hitting over 300 from the plate here in YD, a former former Team USA guy. So maybe he's in the lineup too, probably not. But if he is, that's even scarier. Outside of him, you have Hunter Hines, who's back to hitting home runs on a consistent basis, just like he was at the early part of the season, the Mississippi State Bulldog. And then there's RJ Austin, right at the top of this order with speed, moxie, athleticism, and just a swagger that very few players in this league exude better than RJ Austin. That's a three-headed monster that got Orleans his number a week ago when this team beat them twice, and now Winter is going to face a gauntlet at the top of the order tonight here from Red Wilson.
And speaking of those last two games, they didn't go the Firebirds' way. So, Dylan, how important is it for this team to not only get today's win to try to clinch that number one spot, but also just for their momentum and confidence?
You'd always love the number one spot. You have to win today and most likely win tomorrow, depending on what YD does at Wareham tomorrow. But it's all about momentum. And the Firebirds have won 4 of 5. They're looking for 5 of 6 today. And to beat YD, a team like Ian said, had your number last week. Back-to-back games, back-to-back losses for Orleans, and they weren't very pretty as well. So flush those, come into today. This is a new team, new starting pitcher, and a team that's really firing on all cylinders in the Firebirds.
Should definitely be exciting. But guys, we need keys to the game. Ian, you're up first.
I'll take the simple one. Score first. In a game like this, the fans are going to be loud. The tension's going to be high from the get-go. And I think whoever delivers that big blow, maybe a home run blow, could be big. Last night, Chatham did Orleans a favor and took down YD. How did they do it? They hit 3 home runs. I'm not saying you match that number, but I'm saying you strike first and maybe with a home run. That would be nice.
I love it, Ian. Dylan, what about you? What's your key?
I go to the new guy, Jaden Winter, starting pitcher for ECU, starting pitcher in the Cal Ripken League. Now he's starting here at the Firebirds. 5 innings, 2 runs or less. It's a big ask against this YD lineup. But who knows? He hasn't been here before. Maybe that's a good thing.
Everyone better get your popcorn ready. It's going to be an incredible game, and stay tuned for a lot more content on the Scorching Start.
All right, let's go to war, boys. You guys keep it out.
I'm now joined alongside Firebirds manager Kelly Nicholson. Coach, the 4th walk-off victory last night. Jake Casey was incredible at the plate. How happy are you of him?
Yeah, I was super happy for Jake. You know, he struggled a little bit this year, and I think he would admit that. But boy, I told him, you know, I shot him a little text last night, and I told him today, I said, Jake, I thought that was the best at bat he's had all summer. So I was super happy for him, you know, and obviously really proud. And it was great to see everybody, you know, Grayson Carter. I'd run away from Grayson Carter too, as big as Grayson is, and the water going. It was really fun. I sent it to a friend of mine this morning, and so yeah, it was cool. Super happy for Jake.
Such a great team moment. And you really had your 1-2 punch with your pitchers. Derek Clark going 7 innings, Sean Matson closing it out for the last 2. How incredible were those 2 last night?
Yeah, DC had quite a summer, right? I was telling somebody today that most coaches would have shut him down. 100 innings. Then he comes up here and throws 40 more, makes the All-Star team, has a 1.8 ERA, gets 5 wins. I think he had a good experience. It was positive, made a lot of lifetime friends. So it was cool. I just, you know, I wish we had more Derek Clarks, kids that really wanted to pitch. And it was great to have him. Hated to see him go because we sure could use him in the playoffs. But we knew he was leaving, and to get 40 innings out of him is, man, that's a lot of innings in the summer for us. And 100 is a lot of innings for anybody in the spring. Doesn't matter what division you're pitching in. But West Virginia, they're gonna get one of the best left-handers in the country, and I think he's gonna have a big year for them.
I know the Mountaineers will be getting a lot of Firebirds fans watching those games. And another player who's been a great addition for you guys is Brandon Stallman. How big is his bat in the order?
Yeah, it's big. He plays for a very, very good friend of mine, Robert Woodard at UNC Charlotte, and Phil Siebelhar is their hitting guy, and Phil was up here as an assistant last summer. He's good, man. He can hit and he can defend. He hits left-handers well. We're very fortunate. You know, thank you, Woody, and thank you, Phil. He's been a big addition to this team, and he made 2 really good plays last night. So, yeah, it's great to have him in our order every day.
And today, starting on the mound is a new pitcher you have, Jaden Winter, the right-handed pitcher from ECU. What do you like about his game?
Well, I like the fact that he's here, you know, and we need him. Comes from a really good program. He had a good summer. Jeff Palumbo, who actually, when I was here in 2003, Jeff Palumbo, the assistant at East Carolina, played for Bourne, and we we played Bourne that year in the finals. So it was really nice of Jeff to send him to Orleans and not to Bourne. So it's going to be big. He's just going to throw a couple innings today because we want him available for the weekend.
And today is a huge game. It's the 1 seed versus the 2 seed. What excites you about today's matchup?
Well, that, and we have a chance to, overtake these guys. I don't think anybody would have thought that after our crummy start. I think we were I was actually telling Donna this morning, I'm like, gosh, if we just didn't have such a crummy start, I think we were 2-6. But since that start, we've played pretty well. So yeah, that's the exciting part, and the playoffs are right around the corner, and we know that we're in, and we're just trying to get our pitching organized and get through these next 18 innings. And we'll see what happens today. It looks like the park's going to play a little bit bigger today because the wind is blowing in. Usually the wind blows out and it's 300 feet to center field, as I like to tell Pick. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching these guys play again tonight.
Should definitely be an exciting one. Thank you so much and good luck tonight.
You bet. Thank you, Sammy.
Hey, set the tone, boys.
I'm now joined alongside Georgetown's catcher, Owen Carpellotti. Owen, a huge game today. What's the energy? What are the vibes like right now?
We're all excited. I mean, if we win this game, we get the sleeveless game tomorrow. Skip agreed that if we're going in the last game ahead in the division, that we don't have to wear BP tie, get to show off the guns a little bit. So we're definitely playing for something other than a championship today.
Do we know whose original idea that was?
Not off the top of my head. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Eddie Mick or Andy Blake, one of those two. Those would be my top two guesses, but I can't say for sure.
And the momentum is definitely on your guys' side after last night's huge walk-off. Take me through the emotion of running to first base where Jake Casey was.
I mean, whenever that happens, you're just so happy for the guy who does it, especially when it's somebody like Casey, He and I have kind of been struggling a little bit this summer. So any success you get is great, but in situations like that, I'm just so happy for him. We all knew he was going to get it done. They brought that fifth infielder in, and he beat him the way that he had to beat him, and I love that he was able to do that, and I'm very happy for him.
And really in all sports, they always say you want to get hot right now heading into playoffs. Right now, you guys are hot. How good does that feel?
Feels really good. I mean, we're called the Firebirds for a reason, right? We're just playing good baseball. I mean, all of the position guys have kind of clicked for the last month and a half. We've all been here for a long time. We all know how we go, so we're just keeping it rolling.
And you guys are still getting a few pitchers in, even this late into the season. How has that been joining with those relationships as well?
I don't think it's been any harder than any of the other guys. We got one starting today, so I'm excited to see how he does. And I get to spend time in the bullpen today with the other guy that's there. So just building relationships, having fun, and like you said, we're getting closer to a championship every day.
So exciting. And Owen, I want you to put your analyst cap on right now. What's the key to get the win today?
Stay within ourselves. I mean, it's a small park. We can put up runs easily, but I don't think we can try to do that. I think if we try to do that, we're going to end up popping up. The pitching's going to do their thing. I'm not worried about them hitting at all. What's going to come down to it is how the offense does, I think.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Good luck tonight.
Thanks, Sammy.
That'll do it for this edition of the Scorching Start on the Birds Broadcast Network. Make sure you tune in at 4:30 when the Orleans Firebirds take on the YD Red Sox.